Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and talking to Mr. Gudmested yesterday, it sounds as if he would like me to go and redo the video on form validation. And I'm going to even take it a step further than that. I'm going to start from nothing. So right mouse click, new folder, and we're going to just call it form validation. And I'm going to do what I tell my students to do and probably what Mr. Gudmested tells you to do. Right mouse click, new text document, and I'm going to call this index.html. Yes, I want to change the extension. I'm going to create a JS folder, and in there I'm going to create a new text file that's just going to be called script. Let's call it validate. Validate.js, and yes, again, I want to change the extension, and finally I want to create a CSS folder. I'm not going to have any images in here, so in my CSS folder I'm again going to have a new text document that we'll just call style.css. Alright, now everything is done, all the preliminary work, so to speak, is done. So let's start creating the form. I like when I'm teaching to use Notepad++, and I just do because you can make a pretty big screen. It is still color-coded, etc. So I'm going to make my skeletonized document here. I know that if you are using Atom, for example, you can just do your exclamation tab and get a lot of this written. I'm not worried about it. I'm not in any hurry either. I know this will take more than one tape or one session. So we'll start with HTML5 only, form validation, and we will do one. In fact, there may be, I don't know yet, not today. I may do 2 tapes today, and I may do 2 more tomorrow that go through how to do this with jQuery. So alright, so that finishes that up. And that'll be our body. And I'll tell you what, first thing I'm going to put in here is I'm going to put in a bunch of comments. Alright, and I'm going to say max lengths set for the following. My field name and the max length. I like doing this, putting in some comments, and what I have found in the past is if you don't put the comments in right away, you're probably never going to put them in. Now I may have been very generous here. My first name, my last name, sheesh. I made them both 50, probably bigger than they had to be. Oh, there's no validation for the state. It'll be the zip, and I'll make that 10. I'll show you the state in just a couple minutes. Again, these are just numbers, and I'm not going to say they were arbitrarily chosen, but you may decide, for example, my password, I made it up to 25 characters. You may decide that's way too big and you want to change it. Hey, cool. All right. All right. So those are my max likes. Again, that wasn't necessary to do that. I think it's a nice thing to do, though. So form, method, and I want to make sure as I'm doing this, I move this up plenty so you can see. All right, so method equal get, action equal, we'll put nothing there. Now I'm going to put this stuff over several lines just because I want to make sure that everybody can see exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to set up a pattern right here because I'm using HTML5. And I'm saying I want it to start with 3 digits, followed by a hyphen, followed by 2 digits, followed by a hyphen, followed by 4 digits. All right. And I have a $sign here. So that'll be my pattern. So I'm using the parentheses as a delimiter there. And again, starts with, ends with 3 digits, a hyphen, 2 digits, a hyphen, 4 digits. Now, again, I don't know what Mr. Gudmisted may or may not have shown you. This is the end product when we get done. But I like to go out to HTML5pattern.com. Very simple website. And you'll notice here that when I do this, I don't know if it's got a social security number on here or not. Check. I don't believe it does. Nope. But for example, postal codes. All right, there's the American Postal Code, and that'll be the one I'll use later. All right. So let's continue on. I'm going to put a placeholder in all of these. And finally, make virtually all fields in here except the last few. I'm going to make them required. And a BR tag after that. So let's admire our handiwork so far. It's not going to look like much, but let's run it. There it is, social security number and the format with no formatting on it. All right, and that's good. This is fine. Everything is cool. All right, so we'll do that. I'm going to do a little, whoopsie. I'm going to do a little cheating in here, but before I do, again, name is typically used if you're using a server-side language. So if you're using ActiveServerPages.net, ASP.NET from Microsoft, or if you're using PHP, or if you're using Java Server Pages, JSP, the ID is typically used. All right, the ID is typically used for client-side validation. So server-side validation, client-side validation. All right, so I'm going to copy this. And now it'll be going in as fname. no pattern. And the placeholder, I can just put in their first name. I don't really need a placeholder, but I can say something like first name, 1 to 50 characters, okay, and required. What am I missing there? How about my... It's a little better, so let's see. I forgot my input here. It's looking better. Now the last name is exactly the same, except instead of F name, it'll be L name. So I'm going to change all these. And let's again take a look at what we've got so far. All right. Again, there's no formatting, and that's okay. All right. That looks fine. And we need our address and our city. So again, let's just grab this. All right. So this will be address. Very hard to put any kind of a pattern on an address, just so you know, because especially if it's something that could possibly be being used, let's say worldwide, all right, because different countries have allowed different things, different letters, etc., to be used for the information here. So other than what I'm putting in here, I can't see much that I'm going to want to put in, you know, much extra. Oops. Just change that. That's city. That is 75. That is 75 as well. And you can see it's coming together. All right. I'll show you what I used for CSS momentarily. So I've got those fields. Now the next field that's in there is going to be my state field. All right. Now I could go and do all that stuff myself, but I'm not going to. All right. So instead, I'm going to put a state right here. And then I'm going to go out because I use the internet all the time, and I'm sure you do as well. So let me get rid of some of this stuff. All right. And I'm going to say select for U.S. states. I don't know. There it is. The freeformatter.com is what I used. It says U.S. state list HTML select snippet from freeformat.com, and it's right here. So I'm just going to grab all of this. It gives us all 50 states and the District of Columbia. All right, pretty it up just a tad. It's good. All right. Again, let's admire our handiwork here. Okay, so there's our state. Looks good. What I am going to add at the beginning, though, and we'll use this later, again, for validation, what we'll say here, please select your state. So you'll notice that now on here, oops, the first thing that will end up, no. the first thing that will end up coming up now is please select your state. Okay? All right. The next thing will be the zip code, and the zip code is not that different from when we did the social security number, so I'm going to just grab that. Now, if you're sitting through this and you're thinking, my gosh, I know all this stuff already. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't know what people know. All right? So I figured that by starting from scratch, it would make it as easy as possible for people. Now, you may or may not agree with that, but whatever. So, this will have a thing of 5, and then the rest of this will be in parentheses, meaning that it is not mandatory. So we will have that. Followed by D4. All right, so that'll mean that we can put the pattern in as either or. All right. Now I'm a little more than half done as far as setting this up, and I'm already at 17 minutes. So you can see that, even the act of setting this up takes a while. Okay, I forgot my line break there, but it's not looking too bad. All right, next is my cell phone, which is again going to look kind of like this looks. And again, here is one of those times, again, where I can jump back to HTML5 pattern, all right, and wherever it was, oh, I thought I had it. I can look for phone numbers. Here's phones, and there's a phone number, format USA, which is again dash, 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 etc. So if you're just learning this stuff, as you know, the internet's a wonderful resource, right? So that says 3 digits a dash, 3 digits a dash, and 4 digits. The other thing I wanted to mention regarding that, and again, I don't know if Mr. Gudmested has told you this or not, but I often push students out at regular-expression.info. All right, I love this site. I've been using this site for many, many years. So there it is. Put this up. Very ugly to look at, but unbelievably functional. Not only that, it has a thing in here, if you look, for tools and languages. So if I go there, I can come down here and choose JavaScript, and boom, using regular expressions with JavaScript, a lot of stuff in here. All right. The next one is the email address. And for the telephone, I probably wanted to say here the type was tel. And for the email address, I probably want to come in here and say the type is email. Here I should change the format too, because that's incorrect. NNN-NN, N-NNNN. Now what I did too was I went out here, this is a while ago, so I said email validation pattern. Here's W3 Schools, a site, again, I use all the time, but let's see, do they have anything for email? So here's their email pattern. Is it as good as others, better than others, etc.? I don't really know. All right, it's just the one that, and technically you probably don't need a pattern, because by saying that it's a type email, it should be making some checks anyways. Let's leave the pattern out. All right. Okay, what else do we have? Now with some of these, what I should have been doing too, I apologize. Okay, social security number was supposed to have what? Let's put them right before pattern. A max length equals 11. First name and last name were 50. And if I'm going to put those in there as comments, I really should take the time to actually put them in here too. So I think, yeah, the address and the city were both 75. Zip 10, cell phone 12. And the email was 100, I believe. Yep, and the password, which we haven't done yet, is 25. And again, I could take a look at my handiwork right now and run it, and you can see what it looks like. Not much right now, huh? So let's just continue on, and what I will do is, like I said, I must be at 30 minutes already. Nope, I'm at 23. Well, that's good. I'll see if I can get this done in around 30. Then I'll come back and do the CSS, and then I'll come back and do the JavaScript, okay? All right, so next. And I just stuck about 3 blank spaces after it. Breaking space. So I'm just going to put that in 3 times. Alright, now I'm going to copy this and change that to afternoon. Change that to evening. And I believe I don't need these afterwards, but I do need to close this. And I need a line break tag after that. Alright. Next we have checkboxes, which are a little different than radio buttons, but I'm going to use this anyway. So I I call this education. And I think there's 5 of them. So, high school, tech college, bachelor's, master's, and PhD. Alright, these have got to all change. That's the value. Oh, that's not what I wanted there. Okay. That's what I wanted over here. So, alright. I'm getting there. Sorry about this. Next we have the next was contact via. These were radios. Lovely. You know what? Copy this. So these will become checkboxes. This is going to change to contact via. These are all checkboxes. Good. This will be contact via, and there will only be 3 of these. And they will be email, text, and phone. And these go back, that these are radios. Alright. Let's take another look at what we have right now. Okay, it's coming together. Right. So what do we have? The password, confirm password, birth date. Okay. And what I think I'll do, because I'm now almost at 30 minutes. I don't think you want to watch me type for 10 more minutes. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause this, and I'll come back when I'm done typing. Okay? Just give me a minute. All right, I finished up here, and right now, this is what this looks like. So I'm going to come back, and I'm going to show you the CSS that I put in here to try to make this look like something a little bit more acceptable, delightful, whatever you want to call it. So I'll be back with that very shortly.